we are talking about the most difficult probably transfer market in this industry over the last years for sure, and we are trying to adapt, and the club, the owners and myself, we all have the same interest, which is to make this team much stronger, and we know that we have still the things to do to get what we want. We have ownership that they are willing to invest in the team, and they want to get the team better and with bigger aims. And we are trying to find that balance, because at the same time we need to be really careful, because we need a financial position that is sustainable and healthy for the club.
Hello everyone. Thank you for being part of this podcast. We definitely have great news coming in from Jurrien Timber, who is an ex-football player and one of the best defenders there is right about now. Is definitely being linked to the club Arsenal, and looking at what we are into today is the imminent and done deals right about here at the Arsenal chapter. Hello everyone, and thank you for being part of the Arsenal chapter, and make up and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you do not miss out on whatever we've definitely got to bring to you, as long as it is sports and as long as it is Arsenal related right about here at the Arsenal chapter with me, your host Abu Carls. We're definitely talking about sports, who's going where, who's remaining at the club. We're talking about transfers. Definitely things are definitely happening. A lot is happening. The transfer window is here. We're going to be talking about a few football players, including one of them being Declan Rice, what's happening with Declan Rice, and also talking about Romeo Lavia. We're also going to be talking about the likes of Jurrien Timber, Ilkay Gundogan, Moussa Diaby, Moises Caicedo. The list is definitely very, very big. So let's get the party started. So who is definitely, whom are we starting with? Let me check. Whom are we starting with? Okay, let's start with Moussa Diaby. Let's start with Moussa Diaby. You'll remember that Moussa Diaby is a French professional football player who plays quite well and has been playing very well for Bayer Leverkusen. He's been playing for Bayer Leverkusen for quite a long period of time, and right about now he's looking at a move away from the club Bayer Leverkusen. It is said that Arsenal have already agreed with him about the move to the club Arsenal, and that's definitely something that is quite good. That's definitely something positive for the club Arsenal. You can definitely see that there has been things going on underground. Even before the transfer started, it is said that the Arsenal team had already identified which football players it's definitely going to be going with. And one of the football players that is definitely most likely going to be ending up at the club Arsenal is Moussa Diaby. You will remember that Moussa Diaby is admired by quite a big number of football managers, and the fact that you can see the likes of Bayern Munich also. He plays for Bayer Leverkusen, but Bayern Munich has been in great admiration. Thomas Tuchel saying that he definitely wants him at Bayern Munich. That is that shows you how good a football player he is. And in the Premier League, he's been linked also to quite a big number of clubs. Clubs like he's been linked to clubs like Manchester City said something about him. Manchester United are great admirers of the football player, and also Chelsea wanted the football player, but still the club that holds the biggest advantage in all this is none other than Arsenal. So let's wait and we see how this definitely all goes, but by the look of things are going on quite well for the club Arsenal, and let's hope all this definitely goes on quite well, as it is expected. Personal terms shouldn't be a big problem for this gentleman, and also for the club Arsenal. Agreeing to personal terms, we think that shouldn't be a major problem. So let's get here to another football player. Let's talk about Ilkay Gundogan. We'll be talking about Jurrien Timber in a bit. Let's talk about Ilkay Gundogan. You'll remember that Ilkay Gundogan is a Manchester City football player and also plays as a midfielder for the German national team, and he's been playing for German national team and also for Man City quite a long period of time. But I think Man City calculated a little bit poorly, I must say. Right about now, Manchester City is in a position. They are definitely in. Manchester City is in a position where they are looking at him leaving the club, and one of the big reasons as to why he is looking at moving away from the club is because he is a free agent. He's actually a free agent. In around 10 days from now, he's going to be a free agent. 10 days, 9 days from now, he's going to be a free agent, and he can definitely go to any other club. If Manchester City were so serious about having him, then they should have penned him. They should have made sure that he pens the agreement the last summer transfer window, or even in the general transfer window. But they've waited until it's too late. And here, from different sources we've gathered, we've been told that he's had everything he's wanted at the club, Manchester City. He's played at Manchester City. He's played as much as he wanted, and right about now, he's looking at he's looking at a new challenge. He's won the treble at Manchester City. There's nothing more to win at Manchester City, and that's why he's been looking at a move away from the club, Manchester City. But also, it will be remembered that Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund were football clubs that also needed him. But in a recent press conference, he came out and said he's not going anywhere in Europe. He's not going anywhere in Europe. He's not interested in going to Bayern Munich. Definitely, that shows you how good. Not actually how good. That shows you how good the decision he could definitely make for Arsenal fans. The fact that he's not going to Europe, and it leaves him with a bit, I think, two chances, because there's no other football club that has been linked to him in the Premier League apart from Arsenal. He could either stay at Manchester City or make a move to Arsenal, and the likelihood of him remaining at Manchester City right about now is very low, and it is absolutely low. Anyway, let's wait and see where Ilkay Gundogan will definitely be. Let's wait and see where Ilkay Gundogan will end up. But by the look of things, he's going to end up at the club Arsenal. Fingers crossed. Let's wait and see. And it will be remembered that Joao Cancelo is also linked to the club Arsenal. So Arsenal could be looking at a double swoop. When we talk about a double swoop, it definitely happened before. Some people came up and said it might be impossible, but look at it this way: it happened before, and it can still happen. However, it is not in the same direction. We have to also understand that. Arsenal needs to understand, and the Arsenal fans need to understand that Arsenal is a potential threat, a big threat to the club Manchester City right about now. The trophy was almost in their hands, and they definitely almost left everything. They almost won everything for not in favor of Manchester City. Manchester City almost lost the Premier League, and the fact that Manchester City sold to Arsenal, sold Alexander Zinchenko, and apart from Alexander Zinchenko, sold also Gabriel Jesus, and those two football players have made a big impact in the Premier League, and you definitely can tell how things have definitely gone in the Premier League. They've definitely made a big impact when they have played for the club Arsenal in the Premier League. And right about now, getting two more football players and giving them to Arsenal, I think Manchester City is seeing this as a big threat, and a very, very big threat. And but within the fact that how it might be possible, and this is the reason as to why it can be possible. This is the reason as to why there is a big possibility of this coming true. One, Ilkay Gundogan is going to be a free agent. Then Manchester City will not have any big say, not have any big say whatsoever. Even when Barcelona was linked a little bit to the club, but looks like it was blocked. It didn't. Barcelona was linked to the transfer, but that transfer was definitely blocked. It's not going on. So Ilkay Gundogan is definitely not going to Barcelona for some reasons that we do not understand, but he's not going in there. Anyway, let's get this going. As I was telling you before, Manchester City is now a big threat. It is a very, very big threat to, not Manchester City, sorry, Arsenal is a very big threat to Manchester City. And selling will definitely be complicated. But the fact that one is a free agent and another one is a football player that they are looking to offload, definitely we could be seeing this happening. And if they definitely go to the club Arsenal, then we could be into seeing something different at the club Arsenal the next season. Premier League contenders, Premier League title winners is what we could be calling the club Arsenal the coming season. Anyway, let's wait and see how all this definitely goes. And right about now, let's talk about Kai Havertz. So, Kai Havertz has been linked to the club Arsenal for quite a long period of time. Kai Havertz has been a major transfer. The links have been quite strong. There's been quite big links for Kai Havertz. You will remember that Kai Havertz has played a big role for the club Chelsea. Kai Havertz is a Chelsea football player and also plays for Germany. And right about now, Kai Havertz is looking for a move away from Chelsea, with also Chelsea trying to sell a few football players. Kai Havertz is saying, definitely, I need to leave this club. I need to leave Chelsea because the management at Chelsea hasn't been the best. Things have been deteriorating from manager to manager. Even right about now, Mauricio Pochettino. By the way, let me say this. For a club like Chelsea, I would not bring Mauricio Pochettino. He might get things right, but Mauricio Pochettino is not a winner. I'm sorry to say this, but that's true. He's a contender. He builds up, but he's not won those trophies. And if you've got these young football players that you've bought £100 million, £150 million, £80 million, £90 million, and you do not have that football manager that is going to walk these boys through, definitely, then that is going to be a bit tricky for you. So I think Mauricio Pochettino is going to develop the club, undoubtedly is going to help them, but he's not going to take the trophy. I don't see Chelsea taking the trophy the next season, or even 2 seasons or 3, if Mauricio Pochettino is still the manager. But there will be some improvement. Maybe that is what they are looking for. But right about now, we're talking about Kai Havertz. Mauricio Pochettino is not also talking about Kai Havertz playing for him. And Arsenal saying we definitely need him. He can make a big impact. It is said that once he gets out of international duty, which is done, and that definitely means that any time from now we could be seeing a deal getting done. We could be seeing a deal done. We could be saying it's a deal done, sealed, and confirmed for the club, Arsenal. So let's wait and see where this takes Kai Havertz, with Chelsea's first saying that they needed £75 million for the football player, but later coming up and saying £75 million is negotiable. And the first bid of Kai Havertz, which was around £40 million, was rejected, and Arsenal preparing a £50 million bid is what was definitely also taking place. But right about now, Arsenal are yet into another one. As we're talking about now, as I've been telling you about the deals, deal after deal. Right about now, let's get into yet another deal. So whom are we talking about? Right about now, we've not yet talked about Urian Timber. Let's talk about Romeo Lavia. We've got Romeo Lavia. So Romeo Lavia, he is a Southampton football player who plays for EFL Championship club Southampton, and he's been playing for Southampton for some time, and he's quite a young football player, young and talented, undoubtedly, but he's looking at a move away from Southampton, and because he's a big talent and Southampton has gone to relegation, definitely there are loads of clubs who will be interested in him, and Arsenal isn't an exception. Arsenal is saying we definitely need him. Talks are definitely in place, with quite a lot going on in the football transfers right about now. He is also regarded as one that is meant to be at the club Arsenal. They are trying, the club is definitely trying as much as it can to make sure that they can seal a deal with Romeo Lavia and make sure that Romeo Lavia moves from Southampton to the club Arsenal. Personal terms shouldn't be any difficulty, shouldn't be any problem with personal terms and him moving to the club Arsenal, because already him as a football player, he wants a move away from the club. He's very interested in moving to a bigger club. I mean, Southampton going to relegation, there would have been a chance that he's going to go to if EFL Championship is going to play in there. But the fact that there are loads of clubs that are interested in him, and also the fact that Arsenal is very interested in the football player, definitely that shows you that he is also in for a move, and he might most likely end up at Arsenal. The management of Arsenal have gone on and had talks with him and one-on-ones with him, tried giving him phone calls and making sure that things go on quite right with him. Anyway, let's wait and see how this all goes, how this all transpires. But by the look of things, the club Arsenal could be having this gentleman. Anyway, let's see yet another football player. Let's talk about yet another football player. So let's talk about Declan Rice. We've got Moises Caicedo and we've got Declan Rice, and we've also got Urian Timber. So Moises Caicedo, let's talk about Declan Rice first. So Declan Rice, will be remembered that Arsenal is trying tooth and nail to get Declan Rice. At first, Arsenal had an £80 million bid for Declan Rice. However, the club West Ham, where he plays for, Declan Rice plays for West Ham and also the English national team, and West Ham said no £120 million, no Declan Rice. And £120 million for Declan Rice, honestly, that could be quite a lot of money. Despite the fact that he is an excellent football player, despite the fact that he is a very good football player, £120 million is quite a lot for a football player like Declan Rice. So undoubtedly, I personally think that is quite a lot of money. And Arsenal had in their first bid, which was £80 million. £80 million, and that was even way bigger than the first the record bid they had. Not even record bid, because they bought Nicolas Pepe for £72 million. That is £8 million plus. That's how they have been willing to go an extra mile and get £8 million in addition to what they have spent before. So the fact that they wanted £80 million, they put in a bid of £80 million, and when it reached West Ham declined this bid within a minute. That very day, the bid was rejected, and Arsenal had to prepare yet a second bid and make sure things definitely go on quite well for them. Arsenal prepared a second bid, and they have put in a second bid of £90 million. I'm talking about £90 million. That is £18 million in excess to their record. And what definitely happens is that West Ham comes out also same day of putting in the bid. West Ham says no £120 million, no Declan Rice. Definitely that's something that has been a little bit crazy about, with some people saying, oh, it's going to be a bit tricky for the club. It's going to be a bit tricky for the club West Ham, because they're not going to get a football club that is going to pay that amount of money. But we'll be remembered that even when this is being said, there are clubs that are willing to pay quite insane money for Declan Rice. So Arsenal needs to act very fast, get into proper negotiations and take the football player, because right about now he's been Bayern Munich also. I don't know if, but for some reason Bayern Munich wants almost every football player. Bayern Munich has been linked to him, and also Bayern Munich has been linked to him. Then Newcastle United has also been linked to him, and then Manchester City being linked to him, and also Manchester United being linked to the football player. You can definitely see how big a football player he is. But all these clubs are big clubs, and they've got quite a lot of money, and they are willing to pay quite a lot of money. But paying £120 million every football player, I mean, every football club will definitely first have to reason out a few things before they can pay 120 million pound. But the club Arsenal has made their bid in excess of their record bid, that is 18 million pound in excess, and they've made a 90 million pound. You know what I mean? 90 million pound, and West Ham has rejected the bid. However, from different sources, we are hearing that Arsenal is still trying. It's not given up. Arsenal has not given up on Declan Rice. They're preparing yet another bid. They're preparing yet another fresh bid that could be close to 100 million pound. And if this is what we've got, if they cannot take that bid of 100 million pound that most likely will be coming in very soon, Arsenal will say goodbye to the Declan Rice transfer. Arsenal is not a club that is always going to bidding wars, but this time round, Mikel Arteta has been given the freedom to get the football player that he definitely wants. They're willing to cash in. The current owners of the club, Stan Karanke and Josh Karanke, they're definitely willing to give quite a lot of money to Mikel Arteta so that he can compete the next season. And the fact that also there is Champions League football to play, there are quite a big number of leagues to play. The squad definitely needs to widen and also strengthen and widen the squad. So the fact that Declan Rice is being priced at a very, very big price, quite intense price. A lot of money is involved with this transfer, with Declan Rice's transfer. Definitely, you can tell how good a football player he is, and how desperate the club Arsenal are, and how bad they want the football player. However, it will be remembered that things have definitely been going on quite well for the club Arsenal over time, every other day, and maybe possibly if no other football clubs show a bit of interest. And it's not even a bit of interest, because you can't just show a bit of interest. You need to put in the cash. You need to put in 100 million pound plus, because Arsenal is going to put in 100 million pound plus. I don't see any other club that's going to say, I'm giving you 110 million pound. And it will be remembered that the first bid West Ham had for Declan Rice was from Bayern Munich, and that was around 75 million pound. That was rejected. After that, Bayern Munich sort of stepped back, and since then it's been Arsenal with these bids, with an 80 million pound bid and also with a 90 million pound bid, and Arsenal still is trying to make sure that they can get yet another bid. They're trying to they're trying to get another bid of something like 100 million pound to make sure that they can get this gentleman playing for them. So the Declan Rice transfer is a little bit tricky, but hopefully things will definitely run okay for Declan Rice, and also things will definitely be going on quite well for the club Arsenal, and we possibly will be seeing Declan Rice moving to the club Arsenal, maybe, who knows. Anyway, let's wait and see. Now what we are waiting for about Declan Rice is we have to wait and see what will actually transpire. What after that 100 million pound bid, if Arsenal puts in the 100 million pound bid, is West Ham going to reject it? Because West Ham seems very comfortable saying, if you can't, we are having him, we can as well keep him. 120 million pound is what we definitely need. That's quite a lot of money. But Declan Rice is a very good football player, undoubtedly, but a very good defensive midfielder, but that's quite a lot of money. I mean, 90 million pounds should have been okay. Should have been okay with 90 million pounds. But it is what it is. Anyway, let's get to yet another football player. We've got Moises Caicedo, and we've got Jurrien Timber. Let's talk a little bit about Moises Caicedo before we go to Jurrien Timber, who is the main man of the day today. So Moises Caicedo, who is an Ecuadorian professional football player who plays for Brighton and Hove, who's been playing for Brighton and Hove for some time, has definitely been linked to a number of clubs, but his links to Arsenal have been strong. But there is a bit of a fight between two clubs, between Chelsea and Arsenal for the football player, for the Brighton and Hove football player. Brighton and Hove finished in the 60th position, and one of the big reasons as to why it finished in the 60th position, because that is a very good position for Brighton and Hove, extremely good position. But I don't know why they seem to think that they cannot get into top four. Brighton and Hove, a good football player, football club, but always always have that mentality that for us, we are not meant to excel to top four. We can have at least a good stay, a good performance in the Premier League, and we can always sell football players to other clubs, especially the big clubs. And this was from coach Roberto Diaby, who is the manager of Brighton and Hove. So it's a little bit tricky for Brighton and Hove, and they've sold quite a big number of football players, and right about now they are looking at selling yet another football player, and that is they've already sold Alexis McAllister to Liverpool. That was quite a bit of shocking news. It wasn't expected, but McAllister went to Liverpool, and right about now we are going to be seeing Moises Caicedo having a move away from Brighton and Hove. And right about now, the clubs that are interested, as I've already told you, are Chelsea and Arsenal. But Chelsea has to first sell a few football players before they can buy a few football players. I know the books are not balancing for Chelsea. FFP rules, when you see FFP rules, what's definitely happening? Chelsea has already landed a football player. It's landed Christopher Nkunku. Chelsea has spent over £600 million over the last spells, and they have not had a deal of a football player leaving. Anyway, we've had the likes of very many football players that are linked to. We've had quite a big number of football players linked to Saudi Arabia. The Saudi money is in, and every club is definitely trying to benefit off it. But there are links, but nothing has come to conclusion just as yet. We've not got to the clear things, we've not got the clear information about these football players like Edouard Mendy, the goalkeeper, leaving. There's quite a big number of football players that most likely will be leaving to Saudi Arabia, so that they can clear their money in terms of FFP rules and they can buy again. But before that, they shouldn't have even been in a position of buying any football player. But right about now, they've just landed Christopher Nkunku, who is an RB Leipzig football player and also a French international. It was a little bit linked to the club Arsenal some time ago. That was in the last summer transfer window, but he did not go to the club Chelsea. That didn't happen. But he was a big Arsenal. He did not go to Arsenal. He was a big link to the club Arsenal, but that obviously ended up somewhere. It did happen, but for some reason Chelsea has signed the football player, and he is out of the transfer market just right about now as we are talking. Anyway, with Moises Caicedo, are we going to see Moises Caicedo signing for the club Chelsea, or he's going to sign for the club Arsenal? Moises Caicedo is rated around £80 million, and that's what Brighton and Hove are saying that they need. But I think negotiations can definitely be put in place for him to move to yet another club, and most likely Arsenal can have a few negotiations with him. It is said that they have already had negotiations with him. But remember, you need to remember that in the January transfer window, Moises Caicedo was linked heavily to the club Arsenal, and himself, he came out on his socials and said, I need to make a move away from the club Brighton and Hove. Brighton and Hove, you've helped me, you've built me, but I'm now a man. I need to go away to yet another club. And my next destination is going to be Arsenal. We actually enjoyed it on his socials. I think he was looking forward to a move to the club Arsenal, but because Brighton and Hove had made a number of sales, that sold Leandro Trossard to Arsenal, and they had also sold Marc Cucurella, who are big football players. They were definitely very big football players. Marc Cucurella went to Chelsea, and this definitely would make a big impact for the club. This would make a very big impact for the club. So let's wait and see right about now, as they have not sold quite a big number of football players. With Alexis McAllister has already left to Liverpool. We could be seeing just 2 football players maybe leaving the club, and that's where the club Arsenal needs to take advantage. Anyway, let's get the party finished right about now, and let's talk about the last man in this transfer, and that is Yurian Timber. So Yurian Timber is a very good football player, undoubtedly. He is one that has been at Ajax Amsterdam, and he's played for Ajax for some time, and when you see the performance of Ajax Amsterdam, it's always been on point. It's always been epic. And when you've seen Urian Timber, definitely, if you've seen him playing in the defense, his defense is definitely always sorted. Urian Timber has been a big target for Manchester United, and for some reason, this transfer caught us upside down. Agree to this fact, this transfer caught all of us upside down. A few days ago, nobody, and I mean nobody, expected Urian Timber. A few days ago, nobody expected Urian Timber to even be linked to the club Arsenal. No one. It definitely took us upside down. But right about now, what we are getting is that Urian Timber and Arsenal are very close, extremely close to finishing a deal. They are definitely very close to finishing a deal. It's almost a done deal, and we could be seeing Urian Timber moving to the club Arsenal at any time. Anytime from now, it's gonna be a done deal. With around 30 million to be paid to Ajax Amsterdam, that shouldn't be a big problem to the club Arsenal. And looking at the quality of the football player, he is a very good football player, and definitely I think that will definitely take Arsenal yet to another milestone. Otherwise, thank you for being part of the Arsenal chapter. Make your point, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you do not miss out on whatever I've definitely got to bring to you, as long as it is sports and as long as it is Arsenal related, right about here at the Arsenal chapter with me, your host Abu Kals. Thank you and goodbye for now.